Hello there, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to show you my top go-to knots for fishing, whether it's for inshore, offshore, from the surf, or even at the pond. Let's get started. Show you the method that I use for attaching line to a reel, whether it's mono or braid. All right, let's get started right at the reel. A lot of guys will tie the arbor knot to get started, and that's perfectly fine. I think this knot here is just a little bit stronger and a little less likely to slip on you. What I have here is an older stripped down reel. If you have a newer modern reel, you may have a piece of like rubber band or something embedded into the center of your spool here, and that's just so that when you tying braid directly to it, you'll just have a little bit more traction. So we're going to start with mono here. Maybe you want to spool the whole thing with mono. Maybe you want to put a mono backer on and attach the braid to later. But anyway, this is how we start it. So first things first, take the mono. Actually, first things first, we got to flip the bail. Important step. Flip the bail first. take your mono, go around the spool twice. So once, twice, right? And leave yourself about 10 or 12 inches here of tag, so that way you can snug this knot up nice and tight. You'll see it'll wind in just a second. It'll serve as a handle for you. Essentially, we're going to be tying a uni knot. So take your tag and make a loop like you're doing an overhand knot, right? So make a loop, form it there, and just pinch that with your thumb and finger. Now you're going to take this tag end and you're going to wrap it through this loop about 4 or 5 times. So let's go through here. 1, twice, 3, 4. All right, well, 4 is good. All right, now before we cinch this down all the way, we're going to moisten this knot up just a little bit so that when we do pull it tight, the mono just won't burn itself and become weak. So, all right, let's go ahead and hold on to that handle side I said to hold on to there. Keep, and cinch this down against the reel. All right, pulling on both sides. Get it nice and tight. If you do have a rubber band piece, you can take care that your mono or your braid is wrapped around that there. All right, now take your scissors, trim your tag end. You're good to go. Okay, now you got your mono started on your reel. Maybe it's just a mono backer and you want to attach a braid for a main line, or maybe you want to attach a fluorocarbon leader to your braid. You want to use a uni to uni knot. It's strong, it's got a low profile, it's castable, no problem winding it on. And well, let me show you how to do that. It's the best knot for the job. All right, so we're going to start with like 6 or 8 inches of each line, and we're just going to put them together and overlap them. Okay. So we're going to start with the braid side and just make an overhand knot, like a loop. Make a loop like that, and we're going to take this tag end and we're going to pass it through this loop 6 or 7 times. The thinner the line is, the more you can wrap it, and the more you should wrap it, the stronger it'll be. 4, 5. For this demonstration, we're going to call 6 good. All right, there's 6. So we're gonna pull this a little bit, but we're not gonna cinch it down. Just right there is fine. Now, same thing for the mono. I'm gonna take this tag side. I'm gonna make a loop just like we did before. This is a little bit thicker. We'll wrap this, wrap this 5 or 6 times if you can. So there's 1. 2. 3, 4, 5. Okay, same thing. Let's go ahead and pull this a little bit, but we're not going to cinch it down all the way just yet. All right, now we're going to take our 2. We're going to take the mono main line in one hand, the braid main in the other. We're going to start to pull these to each other. And just before we cinch these up, we're going to add a little bit of juice to it, so that way it'll pull tight and won't cause too much friction for it to break off. Okay, let's pull that there, and we're going to pull these against each other and just watch them cinch right up, just like that. That's what we're looking for. That's a rock solid knot there. Nice low profile. Cast it, won't get hung up in your eyelets. You can wind it on easy. Let's take our scissors and let's trim our tags. There's that. There you go. Uni to uni, braid to mono. Alright, so for connecting braid to terminal tackle, like a snap swivel, I use the Palomar knot, and I think most people would agree that that's the best knot for the job. Alright, so I'm using a piece of bow fishing line here, so that way the visibility makes it a little bit easier. So first things first, you're going to take about 4 or 5 inches, you're going to fold that in half, and create yourself a little flat loop here. You're going to pass that through the eyelet of your snap swivel, just like this. And you're just going to form an overhand knot. So, like this. Take your loop and go through that loop. Now you're going to take your snap swivel and you're going to pass it through the loop that you just made. All right, work this down here. It's a little thick. All right, go ahead and pull that tight, and there you go. There's your Palomar knot. Take your scissors, trim your tag end here. All right, good to go. Okay. A good knot for connecting mono or fluorocarbon to a snap swivel is the improved Clinch knot or the fisherman's knot. Same thing, different name. And this is how you tie it. All right, you're going to take your main line and you're going to pass it through the eyelet of the snap swivel. Pull that back a few inches. There's a couple different ways of doing the wraps, and this is how I like to do it. I like to put my finger here and then pinch it right here, and what this will do is kind of reserve a loop for me to easily pass my tag end back through. We're going to wrap this like 5 or 6 times. Alright, so what we're going to do is take this tag end, we're going to pass it through that loop that was created, just like that. If this was just a regular clinch knot, I would then proceed to go ahead and pull this tight, and that will be it. For the improved clinch knot or the fisherman's knot, we're actually going to pass it through there and then back through this new loop that was created right underneath here. So do that, add a little juice to it, and we're going to go ahead and cinch this one down. Just like that. Pull your tag, get it tight. And let's go ahead and trim off my tag. That is your improved clinch knot or fisherman's knot. A great alternative to the clinch or the fisherman's knot is the uni knot. It's a good all-around knot. It's quick and fast and easy to tie. You can use it for tying directly to terminal tackle like a snap swivel or even directly to a hook. Alright, so take your main line and pass it through the eyelet, whether it's a hook or a snap swivel. And you're going to come back a few inches and you're going to take this tag end side and we're going to make like a loop, like an overhand knot, right? Sorry, it's kind of flimsy there. Alright, so take this tag, now that we've made our loop, right? We've made our loop. And pinch that between my thumb and my finger. I'm going to take this tag, I'm going to pass it through this loop here 4 or 5 times. If it's braid, something small, maybe even 6 or 7 times. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and pull this a little bit tight. And before I cinch that down, I'm going to get a little bit of juice on there. Just like that. And I'm going to pull it tight. There you go. Take your scissors, trim your tag. There is your uni knot. This is a reliable, strong knot. It's quick, easy to tie. Don't waste any time. Get out there and get fishing. The next knot I'm going to show you is called the offshore knot or cat's paw. You'll mostly use this for tying heavier mono line to a large snap swivel, or maybe in the surf if you're using like a long shock leader or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and double this line over because for pretty much every instance that you're tying this knot, the line is folded in half like a shock leader if you're surf fishing. or if you're offshore, you got your bimini twist. So first things first, you take your doubled over line and you pass that through the eyelet of your snap swivel, just like that. Okay, so you're going to take this loop and fold that straight over just like that. And see this little loop that has now formed in the middle? I'm going to hold my thumb there to kind of keep that there. What I'm going to do is take this snap swivel now and pass that through this loop 4 times. 2, 3, 4, and I need to be careful to keep my line tight and even on both sides. So now this is what you have. You got even wraps going up and down the same on both sides. You add a little bit of juice to it, and you're going to start to cinch this down. Just like that. There is your cat's paw or offshore knot. This next knot is an important knot to know if you cast a lot of plugs, lures, jig heads, etc. It's called the loop knot. The loop knot gives your lure the freedom to move more naturally in the water, less likely to break off if an aggressive fish yanks on it. Alright, so for this demo I'm going to use this big old snag treble just because it's going to be a lot easier for you guys to see it. So I take my main line here. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a small overhand knot. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to not pinch it down all the way. Just leave it just like that and leave yourself a few inches here to work with. So put your tag through the eyelet of your lure, and what you're going to do is take this tag now and run it through your overhand knot that you made. Now, when you get to the loop size that you're looking for, kind of take your index finger and your thumb and just sort of pinch it and just hold it right there. If you can see what I'm doing, just pinching it right there. Now I'm going to take this tag end, I'm going to wrap that around my main line, 3 or 4 times. And then I'm going to pass it back through the overhand knot that we made earlier. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit of juice to it, and I'm going to pull that tight. Just like that. Now if you did this right, your tag end will be sticking straight down. It won't be sticking out to the side. It won't be sticking back out this way when you cinch it down. And that'll make it remain kind of weedless as you're pulling your lure, picking up any extra debris or anything like that. Take your scissors, trim your tag. You're good to go. There's your loop knot. The next knot I'm going to show you is called a perfection knot. It's a great knot for tying strong, secure loops, for attaching a snap swivel to a leader or a rig, or for making a sinker loop. You might need to practice this one a few times to get it right, because it's important to get the wraps going in the right direction. Otherwise the knot won't come out right. This is how you do it. So take your main line, and this is where it's important, because you need to make sure you do this in the right way, in the right direction. So take your main line, and you're going to make a backwards loop just like that, right? And pull yourself out a few inches of tag. You can always pull this to adjust the size of the loop. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go, the first time you're going to go around the front of the loop like that. Now you have these 2 loops. You're going to take this piece of tag and go right down the middle of the 2 and hold it right there just like that. Reach through this loop and grab the smaller one, holding the tag with your other hand, and pull this down tight. Just like that. That's your perfection knot. Alright, just to show you again, because you can actually adjust the size of this loop here when you tie it. So I'm going to spin this around and do this on this side. So again, in this hand, make a loop going towards the back, away from you. Like that. Let's adjust the size here. So go around the front like that, and then take this tag end and split the 2 loops and hold it there like that. You're going to reach through this loop and grab this one, and this is at the point that you can adjust the size of what your loop is. Maybe you want it a little small, just kind of inch it up that way before you really cinch it down. So just take it like that, pull it, Pull your tag, make sure there's no slack in it. This knot won't pull. Take your scissors, trim your tag. There's your perfection loop, perfection knot. This next one is called the dropper loop. This one's mostly used for rig tying, but it's a good one to know nonetheless. You can add hooks, jigs, sinkers, whatever to dropper loops. Okay, so what we'll take, we're going to make a loop in the middle of our leader here, middle of our rig. I usually come down, 10 or 12 inches or so, something like that, but all depends on where you want this dropper loop to appear on your line. So here we go. First thing you're going to do is make a loop, and I will say the size of the loop that you make determines the length of your loop's going to be. So we'll go with something like this. All right, so now I'm going to take my tag side and I'm going to run this through there about 6 times. Pick an even number, so 2, 5, 6. Okay. Now that we have that, we have our wraps done. I'm going to try to find somewhere here in the middle. It doesn't really have to be exact, but let's say right here. We're going to separate that, and we're going to reach through that separation and grab the bottom of this loop. Just like that. All right, pull that a little bit. Now, what we're going to do is add a little bit of juice to this, so that way we can pull it tight. Just like that. And there is our dropper. So now you can use this to attach to a sinker or a hook or something like that. So I'll use this here, snap swivel, as an example. You would just take your loop here, flatten it out a little bit. If it's mono, it's going to have some spring to it. Pass it through the eyelet like that. And then pass your hook or sinker through that loop. And there you go. Now you've made your connection with your dropper loop. Okay, the last knot I'm going to show you in this video is called the double overhand loop, or the surgeon's knot. It's another useful knot to know. It's quick, super fast, and easy to tie. Okay, you'll mostly use this knot when you're tying rigs or if you're making a loop for a sinker. But here we go. So find wherever you want this loop to be. Lay the line in your hand. However long you want this to be is where you want to hold it, and pinch it, with your thumb and your finger in this hand. Essentially, we're just going to be making 2 overhand knots, hence the name, double overhand knot. So we're going to go here. I want my loop right back here. I'm going to fold that over like that, right? We're just making an overhand knot. Hold that like that. I'm going to take this. I'm going to pass that through here once. I'm going to pass that through there again. Just like that. Add a little bit of juice to it. I'm going to cinch that down. Just like that. Take your tag end, pull that tight. This knot will not pull. Go ahead and take your scissors. We'll trim our tag. There you go. There is your double overhand knot, or surgeon's knot. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. If so, please give us a like and a subscribe, and maybe even comment below if there's any other knots or videos you want us to make, or another knot you want to learn how to tie. We'll make a video for it. Thank you very much for watching.